Noah and Lucas, welcome to the club. I don't know if there is one, but the club reserves the exclusiveness for college presidents' kids. I'm sure you feel proud of your parents on this special day, as you ought, and feel honored that your dad was selected to be the 11th president. I know I was proud of my dad when he became the 3rd president of Grace, and honor him every time I have the opportunity, even like this morning, by wearing his doctoral cap and gown, which he gave to me. Being the child of Dr. Burkholder afforded me many opportunities, not the least of which was having faculty, staff, missionary alumni, and students in our home. Having an interest in the people of Grace was like being given a lifetime ticket to the 50-yard line to watch God, the divine coach, one-on-one and one by one, rotate into the game 10 presidential quarterbacks, all of whom I've had the privilege of meeting and knowing. My earliest memories being that of sitting on Dr. Suko's lap at the age of about 4. As I reflected, however, on the 10 presidents in relationship to your inauguration, Dr. Barnes, I observed that there were 3 things that the first 10 presidents of Grace had in common. I'm going to shift here, this light isn't glaring. I observed that there were 3 things that the first 10 presidents of Grace had in common. The first thing these presidential quarterbacks had in common was the fact that they were all, you guessed it, unique. They were all the same in that they were all different. Different personalities, different speaking abilities, interpersonal relationships, life experiences, strengths and weaknesses. Some were short, some were tall, some were old, some were young. My dad, who was born the last of 10 children, was 5 feet 6 inches, and he ended up being the tallest of the 10 children. At age 29, Dad was the youngest of the founding fathers who met in 1943 at the Flatiron Hotel. And Dad and Mom were the only ones, the only presidential couple that had a baby while in office. My sister Cindy, she's still alive and well, and she's here with my sisters Faith and Barb this morning as well. No 2 leaders have the same gift set, and all we are and what we do are by His sovereign grace. The second thing I observed about the 10 president quarterbacks who had what they had in common were that they were all surrounded by gifted people who made them look good. Grace has never been a one-man show. The truth be known, Grace's successes were more due to the functioning of the team than had to do with the presidential quarterbacks. Successful quarterbacks have to have receivers who can catch the ball. They have to have others around them who can block and tackle and play defense and run back kicks. Just ask Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, who had quite a Sunday last Sunday. A classic example of this in Grace's history is that of the late Dr. Don Cheddar. Don labored quietly behind the scenes for nearly 50 years, many of these years as academic dean and dean of the faculty. No other person has impacted and shaped Grace more over its 70-year history than Dr. Don Cheddar, but he wasn't the presidential quarterback. Thirdly, these 10 presidential quarterbacks all shared in common values and pursued common goals spiritually. They were deeply committed to Jesus Christ, embraced the Bible as the Word of God, pursued righteousness and holiness, were burdened for the lost, were men of faith, and led the university in the fear of the Lord as those who one day would have to give an account to God. These 10 presidents were exemplary leaders, not perfect, but in large part these presidents reflected The outcomes of righteous leadership as poetically described by God to David in 2 Samuel 23, 1-4. There we read, let me shift this. Now these are the last words of David. The God of Israel said, the Rock of Israel spoke to me. In other words, God speaking this through David. He who rules over men, or he who leads people righteously, who leads them in the fear of the Lord, is as the light of the morning when the sun rises, when the tender grass grows and springs out through sunshine after rain. What an incredible statement that God said compared effective spiritual leadership to 4 weather metaphors. He said that the effect of spiritual leadership is like the light of the rising sun. We all know that at times at night it can be fearful. It looks like there's no hope. You can toss and turn and think that there's no solution to your problem. And then comes the rising of the sun. The spiritual leader is one who gives people hope and gives people help and helps find a way and solution to their problems. Secondly, God compares the effective leader to a cloudless sky, to a morning without clouds. The righteous leader has no surprises up his or her sleeve and has no agenda other than serving. He or she is authentic and transparent, does not hold grudges, does not fill the sky with menacing wall clouds or hail-producing clouds which threaten to damage and destroy. It is not harsh, does not create a hostile, combative environment. Instead, a righteous leader produces an environment that is peaceful and relaxed. A morning without clouds, the perfect start to a perfect day. Thirdly, the effective righteous leader is like an early morning rain. We who are in the midst of drought know that water is so necessary. We don't need a thunderstorm or a cloudburst, just a nice soaker. The righteous leader is not afraid to rain on a person's parade or drizzle on them with gentle confrontation, knowing that a pleasant shower revives the vegetation, allows weeds to be pulled with less effort, and helps seeds to germinate. Rain brings the renewal of life. Lastly, the righteous, effective leader is like a warm sunshine, like when the tender grass springs out of the earth through sunshine after the rain. The warmth of encouragement, showing dignity and respect to all, unconditional love, acceptance and forgiveness produce a greenhouse effect that causes grass to grow, fruit to mature, and flowers to blossom. My prayer, therefore, this morning for you, Dr. Barnes, is that the last words of King David might be the first words used to describe the leadership of President David. May your presidency inspire hope like the light of the rising sun, produce peace and tranquility like a cloudless sky, and stimulate growth and renewal like sunshine after the rain. May you stand taller, see farther, trust God more fully, and attempt great things for God more frequently, because one, you are a 2 Samuel 23 kind of leader, and because you, Mr. President, number 11, stand on the shoulders of 10 foundational fathers and 10 prior presidents who faithfully served the God of grace before you. May God give you a long, productive, student-transforming, constituency-inspiring, world-changing, God-glorifying presidency. May His hand be upon you. I'm Jared Burkholder, and I approve this message.